Welcome to the Blessed to Teach Show. This is Rick, your host, here on Monday, September 2nd. We're at Labor Day, but there's too much exciting things. We can't take today off when it comes to the QAnon, SB2 posts, etc., QAnon-related Trump news, and there's so much things going on. We're talking about part 2 now of Trump saving France from the cabal, and it's really deep stuff that's awesome. And exciting, this SB2 Decode. We also have a prophecy by Mark Taylor that's amazing. So let's dig into this. Right now I see Harold Yarborough was the first one on. I see, what do we have? What's up? I like it. What's up? And then we have Diane on, and Caffeine Addict, and Bella, and Diane. So we got people from Colorado, and Virginia Beach, and California, Perio, Arizona, Albuquerque. Thank you guys for all coming on, and Connecticut, etc. So let's get going here because we have a lot to review when it comes to the stack show of news as well as an SB2 Decode. As you know, we're still on August 1st with our latest Q drop way back on August 1st on 3570 about coats before D-class. And when we dig into this, we will see that future unlocks the past, though, so we have nothing to fear. Why, even if it goes after September 5th, when 8chan actually, Jim Watkins, I think it is actually is testifying before Congress, and they said they would not go live back with 8chan until after that. But I think it could be weeks after that, even depending on how that goes. So let's. I can see people from Texas now, and Florida, Naples, as well as Woodstock, New York, and Alberta, Canada, and Denmark. Wow, cool stuff, guys. I appreciate you guys coming on worldwide. Hey guys, I wanted to talk to you about hacking. Capital One data breach affects 106 million customers. Hacker arrested. So the hacking continues to go on here. These are relatively recent. That's July 30th, you can see here. Here is August 16th. European Central Bank shuts down bird portal after getting hacked. And so hacking is just a reality. Here's a Fox News article saying ransomware attacks cripples at least 20 local Texas agencies, state government says. So this is serious stuff. This is starting to get really out of control. You know, who knows who's next here? I mean, we're talking about, again, just over the last 30 days, Capital One, the Central Bank of Europe, and the great state of Texas all been hacked by major data breaches. And so, you know, one of the best things you can do to help protect yourself is to get a VPN or a virtual private network. This allows you to create a secure connection to another network over the internet. VPNs can be used to shield your browsing activity from prying eyes, whether on a public Wi-Fi connection, foreign country, or just at home. Here, let me show you how easy it is. You basically just go to virtualshield.com, and you can go right here to get started, and boom, pick whether it's yourself or your family, and then just pick one of the plans, and you have a 30-day free trial. So you might as well try it. There's nothing to lose here. And there is a 24-month plan at $4.99, but I tell you what, they've even given me a better deal. So if you go to virtualshield.com/blessed, you can sign up right away for even a much lower price for the 24-month plan, and 30% savings for their anniversary here, celebrating their anniversary. And so, again, you can download that 30-day free trial and try it, or you can go right to and get going with what I'm using on a regular basis. This month, Virtual Shield is offering an anniversary special of 30% off VPN plans and all premium add-ons, including Protection Plus, Residential Access, and VIP Performance plans for as low as a cup of coffee, as we see here. If you do the 2 years in advance, it's incredibly low. Again, this is one of the fastest in the world. It's one of the easiest in the world to use, and they don't keep logs. So incredible deal if you do the 2-year plan especially. Sign up for a free 30-day trial or go to my virtualshield.com/blessed to get going right away with an even cheaper price. All right, guys, let's start going into the SB2 Decode. This is part 2, Trump freed France from the cabal. I'm probably gonna, and this is the vote. He also he originally posts things on Reddit. So I'm over here and gonna try it this time because I've got it big enough, as well as it opens up a new window versus the same window, which allows me to get a little bit bigger for y'all. So here we go. Trump big victories at the G7, part 2. Trump freed France from the cabal. Look at that. Freed, not freeing, but freed. We are continuing our analysis of the events that occurred at the G7 in Biarritz. In part 1, which we reviewed yesterday on my broadcast, so if you want to go back to yesterday's show, you'll see it. We went back to the roots of our war against the cabal under POTUS command and reviewed the weapons used today by both sides. We also went through how the cabal supports China in a trade war against America through the activation of the Federal Reserve and how they instrumentalized French President Macron to systematically oppose Trump and create controversy. You are also aware of the special ties President Macron has with the cabal for leaving his government job as Inspector of France to work for the Rothschild and Cie Bank from 2008 to 2012. It's CIE Bank, whatever you pronounce that. After receiving his 4-year Rothschild anointing and a brief transition at the Elysee, he became the youngest finance minister since former President Giscard d'Estaing in 2014 and was elected President of France in March 2017 with a 66.06% of the vote and a unanimous support of the MSM. You know what's going on, right? This is the man hosting the G7 in Biarritz and with whom the maestro had to deal with. First, let's notice that according to his official schedule, POTUS arrived in Bordeaux on August 24th, 2019 at 12 p.m. local and had a private lunch with Macron at 1:27 p.m. in Biarritz and tweeted later about it with 2 typos with the name Emmanuel Macron that he spelled Emmanuel Macron. You can see right here it's M-A-C-R-O-N-E, so he has an extra E in there. And then Emmanuel, he has a missing M. The lunch was supposed to be private, but Macron chose to have the media around at the beginning. Let's watch how it went. So he speaks in French at the beginning, then he starts speaking in English, and it's all globalist propaganda. Trump just kind of ignores it. And I'm going to kind of go back to here where it basically says, did you catch at 2:33 how the maestro looked around to clearly show that he did not give a single nugget about what Macron was talking about? So if you look at this, I think it was the marker he's doing is at 2:33. I'm at 2 right now, so I'm going to go around 2:33, 2:30. We'll go look at Trump, how Macron's just talking about all these globalist things like climate change and all this crap. Here it goes.
In terms of trade exchanges, because I think if we manage to fix the situation,
there he is, just looking around.
7 of us, we fix a great part of the world, and this is a very important element of our discussion.
At the end, Trump just talks about the weather and stuff. Once he finally gets done with all his propaganda
Look forward
points.
to it. We actually have a lot in common, Emmanuel and I. We've been friends for a long time, and every once in a while we go at it just a little bit, not very much, but we get along very well. We have a very good relationship, sort of, I think I can say a special relationship. We all remember the Eiffel Tower dinner, and that was a very good beginning, and we have some really great things to talk about, and we couldn't ask for better weather or a more beautiful location. And next year we'll be hosting in the United States, so that'll be very, very good. That'll be great. We'll do a good job. But so far, so good. The weather is perfect. The guest is fantastic.
So he's just talking about the weather and all this type of stuff. So the SB2 kind of catches onto that and say, did you catch at 2:33 how the maestro looked around to clearly show he did not give a single nugget about what Macron was talking about? Macron talked in French for 86 seconds and in English for 165 seconds. He talked about Libya, Syria, Ukraine, North Korea, Iran, the economy, gender equality, climate, and Amazonia. The maestro answered with a 52-second speech reminding Macron how he enjoyed their Eiffel Tower dinner and focused on the weather, the beautiful location, and the guests being fantastic. Ha ha ha. The second thing worth noticing is that the maestro tweeted about arriving in Biarritz roughly 7 hours after tweeting about the lunch he had with Macron in Biarritz. For your training, I'll give you the tweet you need to decode to explain this diplomatic oddity. An important clue is that right after the tweet with the typo on Macron's name, the maestro tweeted about tax cuts. Try to solve the riddle. So here's this is image 1. POTUS has lunch in Biarritz before arriving in Biarritz. So here he is. He's tweeting about it here. And there's the misspelling with the extra E and the missing M, right? Lunch in Biarritz. Here he is again talking about Andrew Cuomo. Now he's here. He's talking about tax cuts here on this one. Here he's talking about North Carolina governor vetoing that bill. Then he arrives in France. And again, this time he re-put the tweet up, this time spelling Emmanuel Macron correctly. So that's what you can go through and try to decode yourself, or you can just continue and let the master SB2 do it for us. Here is an explosive solution with the capital letters counts decoded. So now it's just looking at the capital letters part of this. So if you look at the capital letters, you're going to see, oops. Let me go back to this. There it goes. Now here's looking at the capital letters. There's a missing M, an extra E, which is me, M-E. It's also 65 in Gematria, which is boring. So the capital letters there. And then you look here at the second tweet. So it talks about this disobedient media. Documents indicate that Emmanuel Macron may be engaging in tax evasion. There was a leak on Macron about tax evasion, which is interesting. And so reverse his decision and get back to the basics. So if you look at all the capital letters here, you're going to get transform. 124 is transform is one of the meanings of 124. Then you got here talking about tax cuts. So look at all the capital letters. It came like a bolt from the blue. And there, the next tweet is him coming with Melania with that special dress. Pre-cleaning note. Now I've officially arrived at the G7. Now you've got this tweet and another one here talking about the subway in 125th Street. You take all the capital letters, change we can believe in. So here's a decoded message. Again, this is why I believe SB2 is part of the under 10 of Q. I just believe that he knows exactly what's going on and he's using these decodes to show us what's going on and without breaking national security laws. So that's what I believe is going on myself. I have no inside information, and I have not talked to SB2 outside of just those emails that he sends me to let me know that he's posted. But this is really interesting to me. Here is just some pretty deep meaning that makes a lot of sense, but those decodes really don't tell me this as much as what I believe he just knows. But here it goes. I did not announce my arrival in France until I had lunch with Macron because I had some pre-cleaning to do before I started my real G7 meetings. As usual, he was boring, and I let him do his thing in front of the press. I intentionally misspelled his name to extract the word me to signify the lunch I had with him was a lunch with me. When the press left, he was not allowed to talk and only had to listen. This is the big news right here if this is true, guys. I gave him a crash course on tax cuts and how they related to the undisclosed offshore accounts like the one mentioned in the Macron leaks that were put under the rug by the fake news and never properly investigated. In other words, he's got Macron completely on tax fraud. I told him I had it all about buried comms and transactions, and our conversation became as easy as 1, 2, 3. He promised to transform and make a change I can believe in. He will look for an excuse for not seeking a second term. Will reverse most of his positions his Cabal masters told him to take. Will shut his mouth and return to the very basic things I graciously allowed him to do. After this pre-clean work was done, I officially arrived in France with Flotus. By the way, do you like her dress? So we talked about that dress and the meaning of that, but we'll get into that a little bit later. But that was the image 2 review of that. Pretty crazy. Now, that was an explosive solution of capital letters decoded. How did I know Macron was not going to seek for a second term? Yes, I analyzed the Q drops polled by the corresponding timestamps, and this information appeared with other doozies. So here's the third Macron misspelled episode 1 confirmations. This starts looking at timestamps now. So same tweets that we looked at the beginning. This one's a tax cut one, and all the capital letters with the gematria. It came like a bolt from the blue. And if you look at 1015, Gateway Bridge Project, 1.8 million Cory Booker, Singapore, 3.5 million Chuck Schumer, Israel, 400K Chris Christie, Mary Pat, U.S., Omnibus Bill, the gift that keeps on giving. This is about a bunch of illegal transactions. So that confirmed the illegal transactions that Macron's doing with all his tax evasions. And then you see this one, you look at the capital letters was hackers, and you look at a timestamp of 1022 that would bring in 1022 right here from the Q drops. Under the covers health, he will not be seeking another term. So this was talking about Flake at that point in time, but now he's applying this to Macron. Forced not to seek a second term. So basically, I'm going to bust you with all these tax evasion things if you do not do what I say and not seek a second term. Crazy stuff. And then he brings in 1,700 from this tweet with Melania's dress, and it's all about it's all about a government that is going rogue. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute a new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its power in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. And so the conclusion here, and also it's interesting that the capital letters here is 148, which would be Donald J. Trump. And also 148 is Emmanuel Macron spelled correctly. Coincidence? Forced transformation justified by morality and mathematics. So there you go, guys. This is basically saying that Macron is now going to be having to play with Trump versus doing what the Cabal's telling him to do, which obviously, when he was spewing out all his crap in French and English at the lunch, after the lunch, Trump nails him, tells him that you're going down if you don't do these things. Interesting time. And so it says, as you can see, since Donald J. Trump equals 148 and Emmanuel Macron's 148, there are chances Macron can become a better version of himself. The trick is not to focus on letters like ME and alter his name count. Ego quam tu nos trains. And I think, and we can, obviously, what I like to do on those things, I think this is your something about your ego. If you take Google Translate, Google, and all, that's a beautiful tool. Unfortunately, it's Google, but it automatically shows it's French, detects it, and says, ego when you hold us. So basically the ego when you hold us, right? Just talking about that. Now, if I go back to Trump's big announcement. So let's recap. The very first day of the G7 summit, Macron is poured cold water and is forced to cut his ties with his Cabal masters and satisfy the maestro. A good question is now, what happens to all the things he was dreaming of doing, like forcing his way to become a middleman in an Iranian issue he fails to understand? Can you believe Macron was hoping to get somewhere by inviting the Iranian foreign minister that the U.S. Department of Treasury sanctioned just a month ago? Even Merkel took her distance from this initiative. So this is Merkel talking about it. It's a 2-minute thing, so I'm not going to show it all, but it shows him he brought in as a surprise during the G7 this Iranian guy. And you can see it. Here's Merkel talking about it, and she basically kind of distanced herself from it a little bit. I'm not going to go over this, and then here's the only picture we saw was a Twitter account of the Iranian that came in. Iran's Zarif holds surprise talks with Macron at the G7 summit. There's Macron, and so that was him trying to play a game before, he had already planned this before the lunch, obviously. So let's continue. Now you are equipped to understand why the maestro randomly wished happy birthday to Sean Connery, Regis Philbin, and Vince McMahon between 2 meetings at the G7, causing the low IQ fake news to mock him as illustrated here. So here's the fake news basically saying you're an idiot. On the brink of recession, Trump spends the G7 sending birthday tweets to Sean Connery. And so you can see happy birthday, Sean, right there. And then a later one, happy birthday, Regis, a truly special man. And then there's a third one. I think they only showed him 2 in this article, but he actually did 3 of them. So let's get back to here. And it's talking about the key to solve this was to know some French, and notice that Connery is the same pronunciation for the French word connerie, which means BS. Then, since we are in phonetic territory, Philbin translated to Phil Bin. Puzzle coming together. What happens when a president is stripped of his power and becomes empty? Yes, he fills the bin with BS. So fill the bin with BS. And that's exactly what Macron did by inviting Iranian's foreign minister Zarif and talking so much. Now we need to solve why Maestro also wished Vince McMahon a happy birthday. That's a little tougher nut to crack. Here's a solution in this beautiful riddle. Here's image 4. Like McMahon, fill the bin with Connery. So here this is. So it's basically taking happy birthday, Sean, and then that's the BS comment, right? Here's happy birthday, Regis, fill the bin. And here's a happy birthday, Vince McMahon. So this one here, oh darn it, I hate it when that does that. Let's see if I can get it back. Now I just have to open up another window real quick. Now, so you can see right here, Q805. Why are the above public declassified docs highly protected? Q. And it talks about CIA's use of journalists and clergy in intelligence operations. So we talked about that in the last Decode. The McCann letters are another example of how MI6 and the C_A, etc. use clerics in intelligence ops. So that's an important thing to understand, that a lot of our clergy, as well as clerics and other religious figures, are completely Illuminati, are completely deep state focused and cabal oriented. They get 4 AM talking points themselves. Here is talking here about Henry McMahon, a UK's High Commissioner in Egypt from 1915 to 1916. Then you got Hussein ibn Ali, Sharif of Mecca from 1908, King of Haz in 1916 to 1924. So if you get some of this history, it says McMahon deceived Hussein ibn Ali by promising him something he knew he could not deliver, because the United Kingdom had already made secret arrangements with other allies. In correspondence, McMahon pushed Hussein ibn Ali to rebel and wage war against the Ottoman Empire in 1916 and promised him independent Arab lands, and he knew were already shared between the UK, France, and Russia under a secret Sykes-Picot agreement. When the new Bolshevik Russian government made the agreement public in November 1917, McMahon resigned. So basically this guy lied to him. He rebelled and wasn't going to get what he wanted, so he resigned. And though the above random birthday greetings, the maestro is linking to this episode in history of the Middle East and is subtly sending signals to the Iranian people, inviting them to accurately assess if Macron is not another McMahon, and if their foreign minister, Zarif, was invited, is not another Hussein ibn Ali. So in other words, he has no power. Macron can't really do anything. And that was the reason, according to SB2, that he tweeted that stuff. Macron's ordeal was not limited to his unexpected cold shower and his isolation he inflicted on himself with his Iranian solitary escape. A few hours later, the maestro doubled down by tweeting and misspelling his name again and removed an extra M for the road. Through these typos, he coded that France was freed and that major policy changes were about to occur. Read carefully. And this is image 5. What we get here, McMahon misspelled episode 2, freedom. So here he is. He tweets this with another misspelling. I think that might be the same one. I'm not sure. But the capital letters here, 127, can also mean October 8. And then we're missing the me, as we talked about. Another missing M, 13, the 13th letter of the alphabet, lost. Here's a tweet about our economy is the talk of everyone. And that's OE. He's talking about the executive order because the two capital letters are OE. And if you look here, this is talking about the Minister of Interior resigns in October of 2018. And here's an article in France about a new cabinet is initially announced for October 8th or October 9th, 2018, right after this resignation happened. So here's a decode. POTUS codes me, in the deleted tweet to confirm his control. He adds the loss of an extra M equals 13 to signify that the 13 family cabal has lost its control over France. By Rothschild. October 18th is coded in the capital letters to link with the cabinet change initially scheduled at the date after the resignation of the Minister of Interior on October 2018. This date, in conjunction with executive order initiated in the next tweet, is code for major policy changes in France in the coming days. Vive la France. That's long live France, right? That is image 8 that in his decode. Image 5, I'm sorry, in his decode. So as we continue here, you thought the maestro would stop here? No. There's more. On the last day of the G7 summit, Macron launched the session on climate and biodiversity. And of course, you know the maestro did not attend. But something very interesting happened. So listen to till 1:25 it's asking us to do. I'm going to skip this around a little bit just to save time, but you can see they're talking. Now he actually...
At the end of...
Oops, No, I didn't go too far. I'm going to go to around a minute or so, I think is when he grabs the watch. There it is.
Et le produit d'un recyclage...
See how he's looking at his notes?
Et donc elle est l'illustration de ce que nous voulons faire, puisqu'elle est faite avec du plastique qui a été récupéré dans l'océan et qui polluait pour le bracelet que vous aurez et qui est attaché. So this is one of the
English.
This is the swatch of your J7 and illustrating precisely what we are trying to do with recycling metals. Anyway, thanks very much for being here.
So that watch was given to him. Basically, Trump made him do that. So we'll look at that here. Did you notice he was reading a document to present the watch, and that at 40 seconds a piece fell from his box? These are clues. All this was new to him. He was forced to present the watch and to read a script. Why? Because the name of the watch is Awake. A-W-A-K-E. The French MSM picked up on it and asked the right questions. Look at this. It's talking about all the stuff happening for Macron with the Wake. Talking about Awake right here. Here's the Awake watch. You can see Awake right at the top of it. Fun fact, the President of France is also officially called La Maitre d'Horloge, literally the clock master. Q, 1225. Learn our comms. Q. Awake. This is the Great Awakening happening in France, guys. So there he is holding it. He's having to read this script. You can see some people in France saying, we are awake. The G7. Awake. G7, France, Biarritz 2019. So Trump's wanting to show people that France is coming awake to become part of the Great Awakening. We know the yellow vest protests have been going on for quite some time. But now Trump's got him basically blackmailed because of all his illegal activity. And Trump has everything. Remember, we have everything, says Q and on. And if your investigation So now we're continuing with SB2. It says, if you investigate this watch further, you will discover it's made out of recyclable fish nets. Do you know why? Because Q 1840, fishing is fun. These people are stupid. Q. So you got the awake as well as the fishing. The president of France is pretty big fish to recycle after a cold shower, don't you think? Can you solve why Maestro had the watch solar powered? I'll give you a hint. Look at this image taken from part 1. So this goes back to part 1. We saw this last time. But you'll see right here. Here he is doing his little Illuminati sign. Here he is doing his Illuminati triangle. Here he is with the Illuminati triangle in this picture. Here he is on a magazine with the Illuminati thing. You can see it. Here he is with another one with a new Illuminati triangle. And he wins by 66.06%, showing that he is a Satan follower. And or at least is being controlled by the Rothschild Cabal. It was the whole point of this. And so that's the clue that he's talking about there. Do you see it? Peruvian coffee, for those who saw the pyramids, is about worshiping Ra, the Egyptian sun god, while solar powered is about using the sun. Do you see what the Maestro is teaching these secret societies with this watch? I told you, I'll tell you again. God created us for him and created the universe for us. Just to make sure we're all on the same page, Macron gave an interview the next day after the summit. Even if you don't speak French, try to decode what you see. So what do you kind of see here? You'll see this going on.
Donc, ce qu'on a acté ensemble, c'est qu'on a dit, on a compris le problème et on le partage. C'est notre problème aussi. Le commerce mondial n'a pas assez respecté la propriété intellectuelle. On a laissé trop la contrôle à même les ventes.
Shows that sun several times.
Et ça crée des décrets.
Another big thing to watch is, he says watch the water. See if I get a good view of this.
Il n'y avait qu'une page, mais enfin vous avez mis du temps à la détailler quand même.
Oui.
Vous êtes rentré dans.
Parce que
his water's not on the table. His water is on the deck. You'll see a picture of it here in a second. So those are the two kind of things to look at, is the sun and the water, which is really interesting. So I'm sure many of you picked up he was wearing our famous Awake watch. I forgot to point that out. But did you see the other clues? Look, here's image 7. So now you can kind of see, there he is with the Awake watch. I'll blow that up for you. That's the Awake watch he's wearing right there on his left hand. See if I think there might be one better picture of that. There it is. That Awake watch he's wearing. So he's being forced to wear the Awake watch, which is just hilarious. Notice any similarities? We are talking to you. Trust the plan. Q. And so remember when the whole North Korea, where they were controlling Kim and they had the sun in the background? As the world turned means as the world joins the Great Awakening. So this also, and so that was the whole picture that it's talking about. It reminds you of that and links to that. As the world turns, the Great Awakening, here it comes. And also flowers and gardens, watered down. But this is the big thing. Look at the water is down here. It's not on the table. It's down below. Coincidence? And also this is a sign language for Q. And look at him making that sign. Whoa, kind of wild. Macron making a Q sign. Woo! That's pretty wild. Wearing a Awake watch, water down, making a Q sign. Macron himself, deep state himself. Water down, not on table. Weakness, defeated, submission. Thanks for playing. And a couple of these other, what does the flower represent? What does deflower represent? This is all that deep state ugly stuff where they basically use us as food. And 1847, watch the water. I remember in 847, drop 847 was March 6, 2018. Water, why is this event big? What does it signify? Why is North Korea out of the news? As the world turns, Q. But right down below it says, watch the water, Q. Woo! Pretty amazing stuff there if you think about that. And so Macron under control. Whoa! This is big stuff, guys. This is big stuff for sure. Look at this. France, welcome to the Great Awakening. Ready for the icing on the cake? Do you remember the major policy change announced by the Maestro in image 5? Macron misspelled episode 2, freedom. So you can see here, he retweeted this thing about lunch with Emmanuel, and it says October 8. We saw this stuff with the me. Our economy is great, the executive order. But now he gets into a little bit different stuff here, talking about the Ministries of Interior resigns. And so the message here is, see if I wonder if I got the right one here. I think I might have got the wrong one. Let me check real quick. I think it brought me to the wrong one. It's a problem with Reddit. It opens up all these windows. I don't know why he went back to, he went back to image 5 on purpose. That's what he did. Well, President Macron delivered big time. After 18 months of consultation, his initial plan was to confront unions like CFDT, the French Democratic Confederation of Labor, and satisfy his friends from the MEDEF, the Movement of French Companies, by setting the retirement age at 64. Well, during the interview mentioned above, he made a major announcement on the subject and did a spectacular 180 that surprised the entire French nation. Here's the headline. Just right after, look at this. Surprise de Macron. You got Macron entre. So here it is. It's talking about Macron's spectacular flip-flops on retirement age. And so all the news is just going crazy about it right here. You can see. So that's kind of exciting that he would make a huge reversal, basically moving from a deep state stance to we the people stance in France. Challenge: who can tell me why the maestro picked the issue of the French retirement age to initiate the major positive changes that are set to occur in France? What is the current retirement age in France? Yes, 62. So they're making it 64 to make it, deep state, screw the people, basically. But guess what? The value of Covifi, yes, is 62. And remember, Covifi is all about prepare to die fake news media, right? Is what basically that Decode back or way back about a year ago or more potentially. Yes, 62. And then he basically says, Viva la France and Maintenant vos savez. And if you go to Google Translate, you'll see what that says. And the cool thing, you just paste it in there and it says, now you know, in French. Now you know. Woo! This was kind of exciting to me just to think through what this could actually mean if you have the president of France under control and having to now start to do things that are for the people and resign. So he ends with Q 3430, the Great Awakening. Q. That is some big news there, I tell you what. So that again was SB2 Serial Brain 2 here on Reddit on Trump big victories. Trump freed France from the cabal. Woo! Crazy stuff. And that's why I think we have an insider here giving us awesome information. And I know a lot of people don't enjoy the SB2. I enjoy it thoroughly because I think we're being given some amazing inside information that without the breaking the national security laws, and is allowing us to really see what's happening on the inside of the Great Awakening that nobody else knows about. And so it's just quite exciting, I think, if we look at this. Hey, my second sponsor is Noble Gold. Guys, this is an amazing company. Nothing invokes full-scale panic like Wall Street panicking. But quietly, secretly, as you watch this within the full view of the markets, this is exactly what, quote, U.S. corporate insiders are doing. They will call it financial prepping, being cautious, protecting their assets, and all sorts of other fancy explanations. But make no mistake, this is controlled panic. CNN reported $600 million of stock has been sold each day in August. This only happened previously before in 2008 crash. Insider Seller has topped $10 billion for 5 months straight. Meanwhile, gold is rocketing and demand is at a 3-year high according to World Gold Council. The rise in the price of gold and silver shows no signs of slowing down anytime soon, and investors seeking shelter for their stocks, They crashed in are piling into precious metals. They cashed in, which have risen 32% since August last year. Precious metals, gold and silver, as an IRA or 401k rollover, will keep you safe and help you ride this out this latest storm, as they always have done. But if you need to act fast, call Noble Gold right now at 877-646-5347 and ask them to help you move your money to safety. Or you can hit the link below and someone will contact you and you will get the free gold and silver investment guide that has been downloaded over 50,000 times. Again, call 877-646-5347 or hit the link below to get the free guide. And that's a link specifically for my followers. So if you go here to that link that's down below, you will, but let them know that Blessed to Teach sent you as well. Again, talk to Noble Gold and look into that. Again, not financial advice from me, but I really believe Trump's going to the gold standard eventually. I think they've said it pretty clearly as well. Hey, Brad Ayers, how you doing, buddy? Let's see here. Study proving definitely that fire didn't bring down WTC Building 7 to be released tomorrow. So this is pretty much everybody knows that you have one tower falling, the second tower full, and this was a free fall. And so there's a study coming out on that. And there was even BBC News actually reporting that this tower fell when it was in the background still up. It was a pretty obvious building because it's so large in this group of buildings, right? And so everybody can see that this was up. Why BBC has already reported it was down. That just shows you how this was a massive amount of questions when it comes to 9/11 and what actually happened. And this article talks a little bit about this. So this report coming out tomorrow supposedly will be real interesting. This is the second this came out, so that'll be tomorrow. We'll dig into that and see what that says. Here is, let me see what, we're about 41 minutes. Donald, here's, I go to vote.co, guys, right? VOAT.co. And there's a couple of different sites I go to. There's one that is that here, Q Research, another one. And so that's this one, I believe, right here, which is, you'll see vote.co/v/CRV, right? And then the other one that I go to is right here, and it just gives me all kinds of great information talking about building number 7 here in more detail. And this goes to vote.co and /s/Great Awakening. So those are the two boards I go to really keep up to speed on this whole news, and people, you can vote things up and down. It's really intriguing. Now here's Tiffany Fitzhenry, who's been on the Shady Groove Hour and is obviously a Disney abused survivor, if you will. Why Hollywood is canceled. Deborah Messing, Nazi brown shirt. Batman director reveals sick level of sexual promiscuity. Hollywood power broker involved in rape extortion plot. Disney, Iger, and Eisner charged with violating federal sex trafficking laws. All just this week. So there you go. And so please print a list of all the attendees, please. The public has a right to know. Watching Hollywood celebrities act just like Nazis is so creepy. Here you've got top executive at the Motion Picture Association of America, the body that assigns ratings to all films released in the U.S. and lobbies Washington on behalf of Hollywood, has been arrested in rape extortion case. Gets a rated TS for terminally stupid. Hollywood exec arrested. So interesting things here. Tiffany's talking about here about the 79-year-old Hollywood director Joel Schumacher, St. Elmo's Fire, Flatliners, Batman Forever, estimates he's had 20,000 sexual partners. So you understand that's having sex with a different person every single day for 54 years. These are our storytellers. St. Elmo's Fire director, incredible number of sexual encounters. Crazy. See how sick these people are. Here is actress goes after Disney for sex trafficking. Paz de la Huerta, who says she was raped by Harvey Weinstein, has named Disney Bob Iger and Michael Eisner in a new federal lawsuit. Yes, folks, things just got a whole lot more interesting. There she is, brings Disney exec into Harvey Weinstein, etc., etc. Crazy stuff going on. Tell you what, evil's being exposed, just like Mark Taylor had predicted a year ago that its time is up for those who are corrupt, right? That's exactly what's happening. Rescue operation underway near Santa Cruz Island involving at least 30 people on a 75-foot boat. And so this is what's interesting about this is Donald Trump retweeted it, and then he had 3 tweets on this one event. More than 30 missing, 5 people rescued after dive boat catches fire off Santa Cruz Island. So it'll be real interesting to see if there's something linked to all this since Trump retweeted it 3 times, right? Here's Trump saying the good news is that we are winning. Our real opponent is not the Democrats or the dwindling number of Republicans that lost their way and got left behind. Our primary opponent is the fake news media. In the history of our country, they have never been so bad. So Trump is really putting pressure on the fake news in a big way here. And he was replying to this. The lamestream media has gone totally crazy. They write whatever they want, seldom have sources, even though they say they do, never do fact-checking anymore, and are only looking for the kill. They take good news and make it bad. They are now beyond fake. They are corrupt. That's exactly right, guys. That's exactly what's happening. He's calling them not only fake news, he's now calling them corrupt. And that means that the D class is going to start showing that. Quite exciting. Here's a paramedic saying, Patriots worldwide, fighting dishonesty, tyranny, and corruption. And it's kind of like this. This is kind of just like a video showing, look at that fire coming from the devil and people that are covered by the Holy Spirit, fighting that flame and putting it out, right? And he's basically saying that's like Patriots worldwide, fighting dishonesty, tyranny, and corruption, working as a team, advancing slowly, don't get distraction. Where we go one, we go all, right? And he says, Bakes here, the anti-Antifa. That's what we are. We're the anti-Antifa. Without violence, we're able to control these guys. Here's a Vote article, Anon saying, it will be an awakening as Chinese finally come to the realization that they deserve the same freedoms as their fellow Chinese in Hong Kong have enjoyed. So as more Chinese come in, here's a Wall Street Journal report to send shivers down the spines of the old gray men ruling Beijing. And more than 1 million people have moved from mainland China to live, work, and study in Hong Kong since 1997, when the UK handed over the city's sovereignty to Beijing. Many of them share that antipathy for the protesters expressed by state media portrayals across the board. Some, like a group of immigrants from Fujian province in the city's North Point neighborhood, even fought against the protesters, answering a call from Beijing. But a small cohort of mainlanders have joined the demonstrators, taking extraordinary risks to support a society that offers freedoms unavailable back home. My understanding is that our country's 2 systems is a creative set of ideals, Mr. Chin said. Now those ideals are threatened. So Great Awakening's hitting France, Great Awakening's hitting China. Exciting if you think about it. So again, hey, all my show notes that I've showed you here are available right here. I'm usually a couple hours to 24 hours after my show. And so the easiest way to get them the quickest is to just come down here on the front page and get on my email list, and then I'll email them to you right when they become available, right? You can also kill 2 birds with 1 stone if you go to Contact Us. And here's where you can send me an email as well as subscribe and kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Right, so again, I also have a blog. I also have about which shows what times I go live each day. Obviously, I take 2 or 3 days off a week, but when I go live, I'm going live at these times. As you saw, I went live at 4 o'clock here on. This was a special day because I did it like a Saturday and Sunday since it's Labor Day. But in general, these are the times I go live, CST time, and exciting times. You can come and see all this stuff yourself. Now, what I want to do also is I'm going to be launching also a backstage with Blessed to Teach, where I'll be praying before the show with a different angle. There'll be a camera here showing the whole studio, and Rocky will be a big part of that before and after the show. Be praying with you before and after the show, and also will give you the ability to search all my videos to the T exactly. When I say things like for instance, if I say Cereal Brain 2, you can go literally find me when I say the word Cereal Brain 2 on any of my videos. Take a while to get them all up there, but I'll be going forward putting all these on there. So those will be kind of 3 awesome parts of the Backstage Pass. With it'll be a subscription for those of you who are interested. Make sure you contact me so I don't miss you when we launch this, probably in a week or 2. With that, I'm going to go to a prophecy by Mark Taylor. Mark Taylor basically talking about energy prophecy. This was, again, December of 2016, almost a full year before the election, right? So we're talking almost 3 years ago. He says, the Spirit of God says, energy. I am releasing new energy. For this energy that I am releasing will make my America and my Israel energy independent. This is kind of crazy. He does this almost 3 years ago, and here it's happening right before our eyes, right? That's pretty crazy if you think about that. He continues. For America and Israel will now be the top energy producers in the world. And it's kind of crazy that Israel's found all kinds of gold right off their coast, and now they're an exporter versus an importer. Same with the United States, is becoming an exporter versus an importer. Those are huge God things. And Mark predicted them before they happened. This new energy and the technology to capture it will spring forth from the depths as the volcano erupts from the depths. This is the sign that will be given. A massive volcano eruption will signal that this is the time for my America and Israel and the end of the energy corruption. And what's interesting about this is that he already points to a big volcano. I can't remember exactly where it was, but there was trumpet flowers all over the place. So I'll have to go back and research exactly when that was. But he thinks all this is pretty much being fulfilled before our eyes. And he says, OPEC. Your evil regime will no longer be tolerated. You will no longer be needed, for you refuse to listen to my words and have not heeded. For when that ring of fire blows its top, it will be a sign to you that you will lose your stock, and the covenant you have with that ring will be lost. The Spirit of God says, you countries that have dominated energy for decades, to move your evil agenda are charged with this guilt. Your days are numbered, and you will say, look how fast this was built. My America and my Israel will be one, and because of this, you will be undone. Because of your rage and the money you made from those countries you manipulated and attacked from within, you will now have to turn to those countries for help on a whim. For your wells will go dry, and your finances too, and you will now be fed from the red, white, and blue. Woo! That is a condemnation of the OPEC, and just showing exactly what's happening when you have energy independence from both Israel and America as God plans his final harvest, I believe. Here we are in Proverbs 27:17. Let's finish up with a Bible memory verse. This is a pretty cool one because it just talks about as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. So again, as iron sharpens iron, so one person sharpens another. So this is talking about believers that love the Lord. And again, if you have, especially like a husband and a wife that are, that those aren't always the best relationships because they're sharpening each other, right? You're showing each other sin, especially if you're believers and you're praying. That's one thing. And there's a lot of things about men's groups, iron sharpening iron, and women's groups, etc. So I think it's going to apply to a lot of situations. But it's a beautiful verse, just showing us that let as your sinful nature starts to be repaired, as you renew your mind with the biblical verses and you let the Holy Spirit come into you, you will actually work with other believers to help sharpen you, and they your blind spots that you have, they'll be able to show you because they have the Holy Spirit and what you may have been doing for years and not noticed, those people will let you do that. That's why you're not supposed to walk through the Christian walk alone. If you become a believer and you're walking alone, getting involved in a small group, being involved in a church, being involved, praying with your spouse, those are just vital things. So that why? Because iron sharpens iron. So one person can sharpen another. Let that person sharpen you, and be used. Pray about how you can help sharpen others. Doesn't mean you're mean or rude, just means that you can help make that happen. All right, hey, with that, I have a little bit of time left. That's been unusual. So let me pull you guys over into my screen and see who's online right now. We've got Ann and, what is that, Lemmy Palm and Patricia and Double J, Terry and Susan and Elmo and Ice and Dogs, Jan, Isabella, Elma, Isabella again, Barry, Brad, Limey Pam, Elmo. Thank you guys so much for being here on this Labor Day. Hope you guys are enjoying that and get a little bit of refreshing. I just definitely needed to catch up with a ton of things I'm doing right now. Quite exciting to do the backstage with Blessed to Teach, as well as finishing up the first foundational members of the Cultural Impact System. We'll be launching another course probably in October or November. Hey, Mary Campbell. Hello from London, says Karina. How are you doing? Appreciate it. And Patty from Minnesota. We all deserve freedom. It's elites enslaving us. Exactly right. Need to break that cycle. Exactly right. Hi, Sunny. Four spacious guys. How are you doing? Great show, says Karen. Thank you. Isabella. We got Mary. Thanks, Rick. Thank you. Lisa Papalasa. Lisa from Alabama. All right. Bama's in the house. We got Dry Martini. They say Mickey B. Howdy. Ace. David Anderson. Jeff. Double. Lemian. Karen. Thank you guys for all. Sunny from Sydney, Australia. All right. I love it when you guys come all the way from all over the place. Carolina, I guess, is Let Me Pin. All right, guys. I just wanted to say hi to you real quick, etc. In the backstage bash, I'm going to take a little bit more time to make sure we're praying each time for the show before we start, obviously, and then after the show, take time for prayer requests, etc. And those of you who give on Patreon and give on PayPal, you can just move the money over into that subscription. So that way you'll get more value for what you're doing there. I'm excited about this, especially Searchy, the tool to actually find every key phrase in all my videos. I think it's going to be really useful for y'all. And especially those that don't have the time to watch the entire thing each time can kind of go to some of their favorite topics based on a new Searchy tool that will be there. So, and plus be with me before and after and see a different view and connect with my dog Rocky, etc. It should be fun. All right, see Europe, Belmo from Europe. All right, I love it. North Carolina, Danny. I appreciate you guys. All right, hey, with that, I'm going to pray and just thank you again. It's just what a blessing this is to have such awesome patriots. I think my audience is really red-pilled Christian Trump supporters, right? It's like there's three aspects to y'all, and it's really a defined niche that I just love. Heavenly Father, just thank you so much for that. Thank you for giving me these red-pilled Christian Trump supporters that are just awesome patriots and awesome people. And Lord, I just pray I can serve them as much as possible, Lord. And thank you for what they've done. And thank you for the moderators who always help me out as well. Lord, I just pray that you will use us in a mighty way in this great awakening movement. Let us join you in what you're doing. Thank you for just giving me great insight to the foundational members in the Cultural Impact System and their testimonies they're recording with me right now. And I just pray that will grow and be used in a mighty way where we'll actually put some teams and be effective taking our culture back. As you rip out the unrighteousness, Lord, I pray we can do as much as we can to put righteousness back in all 7 mountains of cultural influence. Such an exciting time, and thank you for that, Lord. Thank you for Proverbs 27:17 about iron sharpening iron, just like we as people can sharpen each other, especially Christian believer to Christian believer. Thank you, Lord. And we say these things in the mighty name of Jesus Christ. Amen. All right, guys, be praying for the people in Hurricane Dorian, and we got all kinds of shootings going on. I mean, the deep state is being, and who knows if they're using their direct energy weapons still to destroy the Bahamas and other things. Who knows what they're doing? But you know what? Patriots are in control. We're turning things around, and the boomerang is coming. Exciting times. Let me just kind of pull up the summary of what I just talked about. We talked about part 2. Trump saves France from the cabal. How huge is that? How huge is that Macron's watching, wearing an awake watch, being forced to do that, and given a Q sign, and actually having this water on the ground showing his submission. Watch the water. How exciting. That's an SB2 decode for you. This is Rick with the Blessed Teach show here on Labor Day, September 2nd. God bless you all. Love you, and talk to you later.